1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hello everyone, it's your favorite hero Chris Nest here, and this is the start of a new series of mine I'm calling Death Battle Readings. Now, Death Battle is owned by Screw Attack, and I own no rights to it. But I do know authors on DeviantArt, a website majorly known for its authors and artists that tend to create some of their own death battles. Some I've read, you can clearly see the hard work and research put into each and every one of them. Some are really bad, I'm not going to lie, but when you find that really good one, I believe that that person deserves the love and recognition for that piece of work. For that reason is why I made this series. Now, just a quick note that I won't be reading the fight scene due to being unable to accurately voice the characters, as there is dialogue. So there will be a link so you all can read the fight yourselves. Once you're done with that, come back here and I'll finish by explaining the reasoning behind the winner. If you like this and want to see more, smash that like button and leave a comment below suggesting battles for the next one, and whether or not you want me to read the fights or not. If you do, I will, but it's completely up to you all. Now, let's start the show. This death battle reading is brought to you by Barlow Sandist. Check out the link in the description below to read along and support him and his work. When you describe insanity, what do you think of? A mind corrupted by evil and greed? Or maybe one of cheer and playfulness? Well, one thing is certain between these two, they like to incinerate everything in front of them. I'm talking about the mutation from Dr. Neo Cortex, Dingodile, and Team Fortress's own pyromaniac, the Pyro. It's my job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Have you ever heard of a cross-species hybrid between a dingo and a crocodile who has the intelligence of a human, was given a flamethrower, and is Australian? Well, Dingodile is all of the above. Dr. Neo Cortex develops a method to hybridize animals and increase their level of intellect to become his minions. Among the few creatures he's created successfully, the hybrid of a dingo, a type of dog normally located in Australia, and a crocodile had created one of his greatest creations. That creation was Dingodile. Out of all of Cortex's creations, Dingodile has the greatest IQ out of all of them. You'd think that'd be special, but when comparing him to Tiny Tiger, yeah, it doesn't work too much. Anyways, this weird dingo man was given two things from Cortex: a flamethrower and a single mission: destroy Crash Bandicoot. And that is exactly what he did. He traveled back in time to fight Crash during the Ice Age to retrieve crystals meant to enslave the Earth for Cortex. However, he got his ass beat hard. Fearing Cortex's anger, Dingodile left Cortex's side and lived on as a mercenary, working for treasure or searching for treasure himself. And then Crash beat him, again, and again, and again. Dingo Boy's luck is pretty bad. Dingodile is definitely no slouch when it comes to battle. He never leaves home without his trusty flamethrower, a powerful and heavily modded piece of equipment. It's capable of spewing a normal fire spray, firing a concentrated blast, firing balls of fire, and unleashing a violent long-range wide spray. Through adding different modifications to the equipment, the flamethrower can also fire missiles, charge up fireballs, and fire a beam that generates a 3-layer crystal shield surrounding him. This shield is completely immune to attacks from outside sources, though it is usually knocked down by his own impatience. Also, tampering with a boiler on his back will cause an incredible explosion. That's a pretty big setback when you think about it. I mean, look at it, it's gigantic. It's a giant target, pretty much. He also has a bubble helmet that allows him to breathe underwater by hooking it up to a separate tank in his pack that solely holds oxygen. Dingodile also has advantages from his animal traits due to being a hybrid. He has the strength, swing ability, durability, and tail of a crocodile, and the sense of smell, stamina, and Australianness of a dingo. The sad thing is that it's an actual fact about him. He contracted being Australian from a dingo's DNA. Also, due to the heightened intelligence he has, Dingodile has some tactics for fighting he's come up with over the years. He can trap himself within his crystal shield and launch fireballs from inside, and can quickly switch settings on his flamethrower to deceive his opponent. Though he seems incredibly smart, at times he's a dumbass. If he wasn't so careless, he could have defeated Crash on a number of occasions. Most of the time, Dingodile's downfalls are caused by his own interaction with the environment, be it shooting missiles at stalagmites and getting hit in the head, or blasting away his own defense. He always ends up being dealt the final blow from the environment's middle finger. He's also kind of cowardly, and he preys on the weak. Anything he doesn't think he can handle, he will do his best to try and get out of doing it. Though his flaws are prominent, he's capable of some things, like the time he avoided Cortex for years on end, and that time he fused with Cortex's minions and was able to be defused. He also saved the universe alongside Aku Aku when him and Uka Uka were quarreling in Crash Bash.
One thing's for certain, Dingodile is a ripper pyromaniac. Get it? Because he's Australian. I'm not cut out for this joking thing.
The definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain, or is a threat. In the Team Fortress 2 universe, no being represents that more than the Pyro. It's unknown where he came from, nobody knows what he thinks, and nobody knows his gender. Literally, there are numbers of debates online about this, though we will consider him male for this fight. Not only does the Pyro strike fear into the hearts of others through means of his actions, but from the fact that he's certified insane. That means he is a complete wacko. He was locked away in an insane asylum for years, warping his chaotic and dangerous mind. Through his treatment, his dangerous personality merged with a new outlook given to him through his treatment. This outlook on life was, no joke, Pyro land. What the Pyro does in real life, that is incredibly vicious and violent, is translated to being harmless and fun in his mind. He sees his flamethrower as a rainbow spouting tuba, his flare gun as bubbles, and his axe as a giant lollipop. Yeah, I think I'll take a few steps back. After a long time being cooped up in the asylum, the Pyro was offered a job as a mercenary to fight in a war between the brothers man. Taking this chance, he joined up and spread his happiness and flames and destruction to the other side. The Pyro could be the most deadly yet purely innocent guy, but he is quite the genius. He strides into battle with a homemade flamethrower, a weapon that can spray fire, which lights a target on fire, and releases a blast of compressed methane to redirect projectiles or forcibly move entire people. If that's not enough, he pulls out the Phlogistinator, a weapon that sacrifices the afterburn power and compression blast of the flamethrower, and gives the Pyro a chance to heal after doing enough damage to a target. He also wields a shotgun and flare gun. The shotgun is, well, just a shotgun. His flare gun, however, shoots a flare with enough force to knock full-grown people back and set them on fire. Lastly, he wields a fire axe and the Neon Annihilator. Again, the axe is just an axe, but the Neon Annihilator does little damage on land, but does extra damage while in the water. It's a freaking Neo sign. Come on, guys. Electricity, water, you do the math. He also wears an asbestos-lined suit to keep himself from being set aflame. Though this does not make him immune to fire. The Pyro's mind is his most frightening weapon, though. His methods are similar to playing with children, surprising them after getting in close. I mean, he sees a fat Russian man with a minigun as a baby angel just wanting to play. I don't see the connection between the two personally, but I think he'd make a great babysitter, though. Right? Lastly, he is able to perform a superhuman power known as pyrokinesis to generate a ball of fire that blasts his opponents, otherwise known as a Hadouken. You know, from Street Fighter? Why am I explaining that to y'all? The fire Hadouken does immense damage to his opponents, The only drawback being it takes 4 seconds to perform and its reach is very limited. He's a walking head case capable of great destruction. Though his skills are limited under certain circumstances, if the fight goes underwater, the equipment he can use is very limited. Not to mention, most of his equipment runs on fuel and ammo. If he runs out, he loses an entire mode of combat altogether. This will happen quickly, especially if he's forced to use his compression blast, which takes up an eighth of his flamethrower fuel. These hindrances mean little to him though. He's defeated legions of men, survived multiple bullet wounds, and has captured numerous enemy bases and intelligence briefcases, all with a curious cock of a head. He is the Crimson Cremator. All flammable things better beware. The combatants are set. Now let's finally put this debate to rest. It's time for a death battle! This was a close fight, to be completely honest. While Dingodile overall may not be reliable, it was his stamina, strategy, and durability that determined the outcome of this fight. Dingodile was capable of blocking all damage from the Pyro in his strategy with the surrounding crystals. Many of Pyro's tactics involved the possibility of self-risk, leading him to make more rash and reckless decisions. In terms of stamina, they were both equal, but in durability, Dingodile is the best between these two combatants. Not only did he take 3 powerful kicks from Crash Bandicoot, but he also survived 3 military-grade explosions at point-blank range, and could continue fighting. That's some level of stubbornness. For equipment, Dingodile was more versatile and granted him a greater range of attacks, on land and in water. The Pyro's weapons were suited primarily for fights on land, but he could easily adapt to a terrain change. Comparing the two, one was able to fight efficiently underwater as well as on land. Not to mention, the Pyro's mindset appeals to children. He is like a babysitter. If he sees a sleeping child, he doesn't want to disturb them. Sadly, the Pyro just burned out. The winner is Dingodile.